Anyway, moving on. I'm trying to be quick here. Quitted, he says quitted isn't a real word. You should say quit. There's no such word as quitted. What fucking twat. This guy's supposed to be an educator? He's a fucking moron. Quitted is more regular than quit. Today I quit, yesterday I quit. Today I walk, yesterday I walked. You see, quitted actually makes more sense, for God's sakes. I mean, he's actually having a go at kids for using their linguistic genius and insight to make forms like quitted, which make more sense, whilst his languid mind can only bring forth terms like quit, which is defective in the past tense. You know, I mean, he's having a go at them for using their fucking linguistic genius. What? Oh, kind of, seriously, what an idiot, you know, and he's not the only one. These guys are full of shite, you know. I mean, this kind of regularisation, because obviously quit is irregular, quitted is regular. This regularisation happens all the time. Here's an example. In English, the word tenth, you know, 8th, 9th, 10th, used to be tithe, and it still is in the sort of church sense. And you know why? Because a long time ago, before English even existed, there was a sound change in the Germanic languages, which meant that the n sound disappeared and the m sound disappeared before certain other sounds. That's why in English we say goose, but in German they say Gans. And that's why in English we say tooth, but in Swedish they say tund. You see? Are you telling me that goose and tooth are wrong, and that they're illiterate pronunciations, and that we should actually be saying goonts and toonth? What the hell? Because that's the kind of thing that he's proposing, okay? Or perhaps you're saying that we should go back to saying tithe for tenth. What? Tithe is clearly irregular. 4, 4th, 5, 5th, 6, 6th, 7, 7th, and so on. 10 tithe. So people naturally regularised it to 10 tenth. I mean, it's the exact same thing as quitted. Analogical regularisation, that's what it is. I mean, no doubt mothers several hundred years ago were saying to their children, "Don't you dare say tenth, you little scum, that's what the chav kids say," giving them a clip round the ear. Did that stop them? I mean, nowadays we'd find it retarded if someone suggested we should say tithe instead of tenth, or goonts instead of goose. You'd say, "What, are you a quack? Go away. Go back with David Icke, you fucking nutter." You know, but that's exactly what he's suggesting. Now, to be fair to the teacher and Cosby, the reason they're so concerned is because black people are often, and other groups are often discriminated against because they don't use the prescribed form of language, and that probably damages their job prospects. Okay, but as I've just demonstrated very briefly, these people who think they're speaking slang and not proper English are speaking proper English. They're just speaking a different form of English, and it's perfectly fine. The fact that they're not speaking the standard form, which is often very arbitrary and ever-changing, by the way, as I demonstrated earlier with the Adam thing, doesn't mean they're not speaking real English. They are speaking real English. By creating schemes and training programs like this teacher has, they're actually perpetuating black failure. They're not alleviating it. And you know why? I'll tell you why. Haha, yeah. Because instead of putting out the linguistically sound and proven arguments that say, okay, this Ebonics, or whatever you want to call it, is not substandard English, it's actually perfectly acceptable and it's perfectly legitimate, okay? Instead of putting out arguments like that and arguing in favour of it, and thereby eventually causing a change of attitude whereby most people might actually accept that in fact, yes, you know, it is fine as well, and that standard form of the language, which is different from country to country, is largely arbitrary. Yeah, you know, actually it's okay to speak black. Instead of doing that and changing people's opinions and thereby ending discrimination against people who speak that way, he reinforces the ridiculous and totally rubbish idea that these forms of speech are substandard and ungrammatical. He actually reinforces that idea, and so does Fox News and everyone else. And that actually reinforces and perpetuates black failure, because people's attitudes don't change. Black people are trying to have to change. Black people who speak that way are trying to have to change themselves. And also, you see that girl, "Oh, we don't speak proper English where I'm from, we just speak slang." being made to believe that cannot be good for your self-esteem, and therefore cannot be good for your job prospects. One more thing, I forgot to mention it about the whole gotten thing. In the UK, you don't say gotten. Lots of people say gotten. I actually say gotten a lot of the time. And it makes sense. Forget, forgot, forgotten. Beget, begot, begotten. But in terms of get, in Britain, you say get, got, have got. Whereas in America, you say get, got, have gotten. Okay? In Britain, it is non-standard. It is not standard to say gotten. If you say gotten in the UK, it's just as bad as saying learn when you should say teach. It's the same difference. It's not standard. So hang on a sec. If this guy were to come to England, this black teacher, he's speaking a debased, retarded version of language himself. Oh man, these guys are full of shite.